Hello everyone and welcome back to another MSTR chart planning update video. As always, we're going to get started first with Bitcoin to get a better understanding of what MSTR can do. And again guys, like I always say, this is all just my own personal opinion. It is not financial advice because I am not always wrong, or I am not always right with my trades, but I tend to stick with my analysis until I am proven wrong. So bullish week coming up potentially, and I'm going to get over that in a moment. And then also a lot of things we're going to talk about today kind of correlate with Mara for those of you that trade Mara, just because we're holding this floor pretty well, and the RSI plus a few imbalance areas acting as magnets can potentially also bring the stock a little high, not making new highs within the structure, but it could provide a potential early week uh, opportunity. But just got to keep an eye on that though. To get started with Bitcoin, right? We don't have enough volume to, we didn't have enough volume to potentially, you know, not potentially, we didn't push the stock high or the crypto higher to try to match up with these swing highs and then create a wider channel. Instead, we found a lower high here, but this liquidity wall is still holding quite strong. Support line at this point, really, and we bounced up from it and we're still holding above it as well. When it did come down here overnight, it did also make the RSI fall more into the discounted levels and then eventually, pop up a little higher from here. So there isn't a whole lot of like bearish momentum when it comes to being able to push the price lower from here. We still have the possibility of this coming down to the try to fill in this red area a little bit more, but as of right now, it looks like the opportunity is potentially fading away. We are meeting the area. We are breaking into a little bit, which creates, the minimum requirements are met, and it creates this support line still holding strong, not breaking below it. Honestly, I'm very bullish on this. This is showing a lot of strength, being able to hold the price at this level. We are also seeing this imbalance area show that it's holding strong by keeping the price within this range. And again, this is just a very basic reason why I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, and it's going to correlate into MSTR in just a moment. With this being said, though, we still have an imbalance up here with this liquidity walls that may be fading away now. These been here for a little bit. I haven't checked to see if these are updated and still holding up today. But regardless, this imbalance, like we've seen many times before in the past with this, within the last year, many imbalances tend to be filled and act as a magnet. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come up into this area. And then eventually, if we can hold this area, consolidate just a little bit, hold this area, we can then start trying to break through these orange liquidity walls. Made them orange just to separate. There's too much green all over the place. So I didn't want to keep the green, and then eventually break up into this next leg up area by the end of February, in my opinion, which will be a new high for Bitcoin as well. But we are holding quite well. We've been seeing a corrective sideways pattern forming for quite a bit. We've seen these red supportive areas get filled very nicely, like we saw previously here not too long ago, and then back here as well. And we've seen a lot of imbalances get filled. The most recent one that was really clear was right here and right here. So we saw this imbalance get filled, act as support. This imbalance is filled, continuing to act as support, still holding. And then I do believe we're going to start pushing up higher. We still have the possibility of this coming down and trying to fill in this red area. It does not have to happen, but if it does happen, it'll be very quick. And I believe we won't have many candles holding this area. It will just recover very quickly. So with that being said, understanding that I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, with still the possibility of a little bit of a dip, but it's starting to fade away the longer we hold this support line, and then we can potentially come up higher with the first true resistance really being around. It can be break over this and go to 102,000. So it's very possible it can meet this previous swing high right here. A little bit of consolidation right here ended up acting as a resistance, and it can definitely do it once again. Basically at 102,000, but I do believe this is much more significant and strong, so we can find a true more significant resistance in this area. Now, with all that being said, for MicroStrategy. I've said this in many videos before too, and we've seen this happen in Bitcoin and a lot of other Bitcoin, related stocks that have to do with Bitcoin. But every time we see, it's either a bullish or a bearish extension area, it does not matter. Every time we see even a slight break into one of the extension areas, uh, most of the time it usually ends up retesting it later on, after consolidating and pulling back from it. And it retests it, and it tends to retest it a lot deeper. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin starts pumping, if MSTR with all their, now they're called strategy, but with all their Bitcoin buying and accumulating, I wouldn't be surprised if, just because straight up their balance sheets and how much exposure they have with Bitcoin, this also pops up and tries to find resistance. We do have very weak kind of not significant imbalance right here. This can act as is, so just above the 0.35 orange line around here, like $166, we can potentially find resistance. But this is my next leg up area that I'm focused on. It is not a new high, but it is a very significant area I'm focused on when it comes to this stock in particular, MSTR. When it comes to any potential lower falls, we are seeing an uptrend. Either way, we have, a higher low from here, and then we have the higher high from there. And when it came back down and formed this very choppy corrective pullback, it is still a higher high from here. And there's enough volume, enough bullishness where it is keeping the price above from, trying to break down anymore and going from, it could absolutely happen, but we haven't seen the RSI really top out in a while. We've seen the RSI bottom out and hasn't really tried to max it out a lot. This is not like a guaranteed thing that we have to excuse me, that we have to max it out. But just because of their exposure with Bitcoin and understanding that this stock doesn't 100% follow Bitcoin, but it does tend to be highly influenced by it, I personally do believe that we are trying to find support here. As you can see multiple times, we kind of reach this area. We can potentially just start moving up from here. We do have less volume. We couldn't meet these tops on these smaller swing highs, just like in Bitcoin, we couldn't meet it. But if Bitcoin does pump in, it is early. The futures markets, it's Sunday. The futures markets aren't open yet, and the Asian markets should open roughly similar to around the time the future markets open, or just slightly later, I believe. So a similar pattern with Bitcoin, we're showing strong support, and if we can then push up higher and try to meet these next resistance levels before we start breaking up higher, we can easily see MSTR, wrong stock. We can easily see MSTR come up, and then when Bitcoin reaches that first imbalance area in the green rectangle before making a new high, we can potentially see this stock trading at least, at $360 at a minimum, even 358, but really 360 is a more fair area to really pay attention to. It's just above the 1.38 line, and it should meet this 0.35 line right up here. And then if Bitcoin does hold that well and then starts pushing up to new highs, that's when I believe MSTR can potentially start trading within this next leg up area right here. When it comes to that slight Bitcoin pullback that can happen, that can cause this stock to quickly drop down to potentially meeting previous swing lows around this area, or just meeting this swing low but around here. And then quickly recover, just like in Bitcoin as well. We've seen this stock do that many times with these crazy massive fluctuations, massive candles. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens as well. With that being said, though, it's a great accumulation time for this stock, just like this previous imbalance we had back here that eventually got filled here. We could, in right here, it got filled once again. So if I stretch this out, it'll be probably easier to see. So it came into here and it found support once again within the imbalance rectangle, and then that's what I call it. It's just easier to visualize if I just do that. And then it found it once again. It came up, found support right above it, and then it's starting to potentially swing back higher. It is forming somewhat of a sharpening little triangle right here. So regardless if it comes back into here, anytime it comes back into here is, I think, a really good buying opportunity. We already seen it max it out right here. I don't think it will max that out again. So it's already a really good buying opportunity, but this would just be great to accumulate even more. So I'm quite bullish on this stock. I do believe this stock has the potential of not just reaching $500 again this year, but I do believe it has the potential of getting up to $1,000 as well. So this is a really good opportunity to buy if your time horizon supports that. We also saw this drop down. There was a slight imbalance there that it dropped down to. So this can also act as support. And then we can, if Bitcoin does hold strong and starts separating itself from this support line and pushing up higher, then we can see MSTR also reflect that and potentially start pushing up higher, closer to that $360 range. But with that being said, guys, any further dip, I don't think it's gonna last long. It would just be another great opportunity to accumulate more before it does pump up higher and start mixing with these previous swing highs and start, getting closer to its all-time high and reaching this next leg up area. So yeah, guys, I think it's a really great buying opportunity. Again, if your time horizon allows it, and if I am correct with Bitcoin reaching that next leg up area sometime in February by the end of it, then we should see MSTR trading much higher, reflecting that. And I'm going to stick with that until February ends. If February ends and Bitcoin never even touched that next leg up area up here, then well, I'm wrong. But until that happens, I'm still going to believe in it. So yeah, guys, hopefully this made sense. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and let's get excited for a potentially bullish week ahead of us. We're not going to go all the way up there next week. I doubt it. It's possible. I doubt it. Maybe later into the month, but let's see what happens with this week coming up tomorrow. So yeah, I'll catch you guys soon, and take care.